Good afternoon and welcome to Opportunity Homes San Antonio's regular board meeting on November 12, 2025. Please note roll call. Chair Estrellita Garcia Diaz.
Here.
Vice Chair Leila Powell.
Here.
Barbara Unkama Burford.
Here.
Gilbert Casillas.
Here.
Janet Garcia. Doug Ponick, Board of Commissioners Attorney.
I'm here.
President and CEO Michael Reyes.
Here.
Additionally, there is a Spanish interpreter located at the back of the room should you need their support. The quorum has been met. You may now call the meeting to order.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. The Board of Commissioners or its committee may hold a closed meeting pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071-076 for consultation concerning attorney-client matters, real estate litigation, personnel, and security matters. The board or committee reserves the right to enter into closed session at any time during the course of the meeting. We will start the meeting at 1:06 p.m. Do we have any citizens to be heard?
Yes, we have 4 individuals signed up to speak. Please note, now is the time for citizens to be heard. Citizens will be given up to 3 minutes to speak. Each citizen will be permitted to speak only once. The board asks the public to address concerns related to Opportunity Home matters and policy and not include statements that may be considered defamatory of any individual. The board encourages members of the public to direct specific concerns or problems to Opportunity Home staff for more prompt resolution. The board will not discuss the comments of speakers or respond to speakers during the citizens to be heard portion of the agenda. Our first speaker, Richard Cantu.
Richard Cantu, Banco Apartments, my home since 2020. With all due respect, I shouldn't have to be here today, but out of no fault of my own, I'm forced to be here as a concerned citizen. This is my 3rd appearance speaking to the board under the citizens to be heard. First, I wish to add additional information to the previous log of rent payments from June 2024 to January 2025. There were differences in the entering the dollar amounts and miscalculations between the client services specialist receipts and Saha statements. This led to a 30-day notice to vacate for non-payment, served to me on December 11, 2024. I paid $300 plus. I presented this to the board on June 18th and July 15, 2025. Due to an inquiry conducted by the client services specialist on March 2025 and a scheduled inquiry appointment with the assistant manager on May 16, 2025, I was told I was wrong. At the time, I begged to differ. I'm okay with that now, case closed. But I feel it was my duty as a concerned citizen to report this to the board. I made copies of the receipts and related documents for my inquiry to Saha. These were submitted via certified mail, priority mail, email, and in person since November 2024. I also emailed the CEO copies to submit to the person responsible for compiling all the complete board packets for all commissioners to create a clear, documented record for review on November 9, 2025. I'm politely requesting the board to review the receipts and submit them into the official record. The second issue I'm concerned about are the surveillance cameras in the lobby and on the 2nd floor where I reside. On July 26, 2025, somebody not at my residence signed for a certified check on my digital pad, then clipped it on my door without my consent. Forging my signature illegally gives access to the check to anybody walking in the hallway. I reported this to Saha, mind you, enough time to investigate and help prosecute to no avail. Later, I was threatened by a lawsuit for suspecting a person of interest. On September 15, 2025, the Director of Legal Services sent a certified letter serving as a formal response. He's prepared to pursue all legal remedies for harassment, seeking injunctive relief and damages. I had to report the incident to the USPS Office of Inspection General. The investigation is still active and can always be reopened. I also had to file a police report with the Financial Crimes Unit for fraud on August 4, 2025. Case number SAPD 2515-6329. Detective Cruz was assigned to my case. On October 21, 2025, during his investigation, he asked the Blanco Apartments client service specialist for the surveillance footage. He was referred to the management. No surveillance was available. Case closed. Mind you, I reported this crime on July 30, 2025, again giving Saha ample time to investigate. On October 22, 2025, Detective Cruz informed me that the case is still open. Due to a broken surveillance camera, crime victims face legal complications and pending lawsuits without evidence, as in my case. It's important to get these surveillance cameras fixed. The third issue, recent soliciting during business hours. There's no soliciting inside the lobby. But last but not least, our apartments are experiencing a serious roach infestation, pestilence, whatever. I treated my apartments comebacks with a gel from HEB 999. It worked. due respect, sorry. A little stressed out.
Our next speaker, Chris Thomas.
It should be, there's two other individuals speaking, so it should be 9 minutes total.
The additional speakers did not sign up to speak.
What is that they didn't sign up to speak?
We showed up here just a second ago, and we said that we're all going to be speaking, but I was the only one talking.
There's a deadline as to when folks have to sign up to speak, and so, you know, if they didn't sign up by that deadline, then they
We
technically,
were all here, here. We were
Right.
sitting right here at the, we were all right up
there's a
here.
process where people have to sign up by the deadline. That's what you're faced with. Did you sign up?
At the front over there? did you
Yes,
Check in?
yes,
You did sign up to speak?
Yes.
Okay, and the others also signed up to speak?
yes, we were all right there signing up. Yes,
I was informed that the other two individuals did not want to sign up from our staff.
no, they wouldn't say that at all.
Well-
They said that I was going to be speaking and that they were going to be standing there.
So here's the question, did they sign up, yes or no? Okay. Okay, well, just so you know, there's a process for this, so folks have to sign up by a deadline. Now, having said that, they were here by the deadline? Okay, so I would ask the board chair, it's up to you at this point if you wish to hear from them, and then you can.
It's fine.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it. Good evening, Chair, board members, and executive leadership. Thank you again for letting me speak. My name is Christopher Tomez, CEO of Lakeway security-based integrator. Today, I want to talk about the transparency, the fairness, and the public trust in the procurement process. I believe deeply in Opportunity's mission and its commitment to creating a safe and secure communities. My purpose here is constructive to help strengthen the procurement process that remains fair, consistent, and free from outside influence. At the last meeting, I raised concerns about the withdrawal of an award contract following a temporary license lapse. That license was immediately reinstated. The RFP at the time, 2501-552, did not require an active license. Later, that language was added for RFP 2506-5592, and I supported that clarification. Clear policy benefits everyone. However, since that meeting, there's been no communication, there's been no update, and there's no timeline. Silence serves no one, not the agency, not the vendors, and certainly not the residents that are waiting for improved security. It is also concerning that this issue about the license arose not from an internal review, but from a vendor interference. Competition should take place on the bid sheet, not through a backdoor channel, phone calls. A procurement process influenced by competitor pressure cannot inspire public trust. To be clear, I'm not asking for a rebid, I'm asking for a reevaluation on RFP 2506-5592 based solely on the merits and the scoring that was issued. I'm also requesting that VIA Technologies be removed from eligibility from the procurement because they interfered with the bid process, which is a direct violation of the RFP itself. The RFP states, and I'm going to quote this, "Respondents shall address all communications and correspondence pertaining to the RFP process only to the contact person identified herein. Respondents must not inquire or communicate with any other Opportunity Home staff member or official, including the members of the board or of commissions pertaining to this RFP. Failure to comply to this requirement is cause for the proposer to be disqualified. During the solicitation process, Opportunity Home will not conduct any ex parte conversations which may give one prospective respondent an advantage over another. That language is crystal clear. No vendor is allowed to contact anyone outside the designated procurement channel, yet this entire issue, the withdrawal of my award, was triggered by a phone call from VIA Technologies, not by an internal audit or a review. That is a direct violation of the RFP. The proper action is for that vendor to be disqualified, as the RFP clearly provides. Therefore, I'm formally requesting the Opportunity Home reevaluate the proposals on its merits, excluding any vendor who violated the communication rules, and based on the evaluation strictly on RFP 2506-5592, scoring criteria and eligibility requirements. During my due diligence, I spoke professionally with another local firm that also bid on this last project. They scored higher than Lakeway Security on the implementation plan section, a heavily weighted category. However, they openly shared that due to short turnaround, they did not submit an implementation plan at all. Meanwhile, my firm submitted a complete plan covering all 31 properties. This included layouts, drawings, and a detailed execution schedule. Yet the vendor that submitted nothing scored higher than the vendor that submitted a full detailed plan. That's not possible under any fair scoring system. I'm not criticizing that company. They acted on good faith with the time that they were given. But it does raise a clear procedural question. How can a zero response outscore a full response? I'm going to say that one more time. How can a zero response outscore a full response in a category that is worth 30% of the total evaluation? I'm sorry? Plus 20% of the warranty of a combined 50% of the score. It doesn't stop there. On the scoring sheet, there are two sections specifically designed to promote equality. One is for Hispanic-owned business, which I am, and one is for Section 3 certification. Both are worth 5 points each, a total of 10. Lakeway Security is certified in both. I submitted my official Section 3 certificate issued by Opportunity Homes itself, yet somehow we were awarded 2 points out of 5 in that category. So let's connect the dots. Companies submitting nothing score higher than companies submitting full documentations. Certified firms earn 2 points where 5 points should be automatic. There is a pattern here. And at some point, that stops looking like a coincidence and it starts sounding like a discrimination against Lakeway Security. Evaluator notes are the only way to confirm whether these decisions are fair and consistent. The RFP itself requires respondents to provide proof of licensing from the Texas Department of Public Safety, and it states that failure to properly be licensed by the state of Texas may result in disqualification. Yet, one of your vendors, IREX AI Incorporated, was given the highest price score rating, 20 points out of 20. And yet that score became the baseline for all other price evaluations. However, that vendor is not licensed in the state of Texas, and therefore they should have been deemed ineligible. By using their price as a baseline, the evaluation was skewed. That penalized every single compliant vendor and rewarding one that should have never been scored. There's a saying in business, there's good, there's fast, and there's cheap. You get to pick two. You can't have all three. For example, if someone tells you they can deliver an Escalade at a Kia price and have it ready tomorrow, you know that there's something that doesn't add up, and that's exactly what the scoring sheets show. One vendor somehow managed to be the cheapest, the fastest, and the highest quality all at once. That's not realistic. That's not an Escalade, it's a Kia with an Escalade badge. This delay is not abstract, it's delaying critical security upgrades for communities that need them most. Every week without resolution is another week residents remain without enhanced safety systems, as we just heard. Security is not theatrical, it's real, it's urgent, and it matters every single day. Therefore, I'm respectfully requesting that a written update on the award status, a defined timeline for resolution, full disclosure of evaluator scores and notes, a meeting with procurement leadership to finalize this matter. These are the standard governance practices that restore the confidence to protect the agencies and its integrity. I want to win or lose on merit, not on silence, not on process gaps, and not on outside influence. Opportunity Homes' mission deserves procurement process that reflects transparency, fairness, and accountability. Lakeway Security stands ready to mobilize immediately if awarded, and if not, we respectfully request document justification consistent with the procurement rules. Thank you for your time and your service and your commitment to the families that you support.
Our next citizen is Derek Romero.
Good afternoon. I'll be speaking on behalf of the Security Solution RFP. My name is Derek Romero, and I'm the Vice President of South Texas at PowerCom Systems. We greatly appreciate the opportunity to participate in the RFP process for the security solution being presented today and for the opportunity to speak with you now. PowerCom Systems is a leader in the fire and security solutions industry with nearly 30 years in business and over 130 employees with offices in San Antonio and El Paso. The solution that we have proposed in our response to the RFP for access control and security cameras is one that we have successfully deployed to numerous clients, to include 18 housing authority properties in El Paso and 2 here in San Antonio. The product is NDAA compliant and has been installed in thousands of commercial businesses across the country. We are confident that the solution we have proposed meets the criteria requested in the RFP, and that will provide exceptional performance and value for the San Antonio, for the Opportunity Homes. We want to thank you again for the opportunity, and we look forward to your announcement. Thank you. I yield my time to Brian Crockett. He signed up to speak also.
Our next citizen is Brian Crockett.
Hello, I'm Brian Crockett, and I'm the Regional Sales Director for Uniview Technology, and Uniview Technology is the manufacturer of the product that PowerCom Systems has presented to you in their RFP. I've worked closely with them on numerous occasions, specifically involving housing authorities, and the product and the system that they're asking you to evaluate has been proven numerous times, and referrals are always available through PowerCom Systems as well. It's a fully commercial application. Every single system out there in the world that you could possibly consider is going to fall under one of 3 categories. It's going to be a cloud solution, it's going to be a server-based solution, or it's going to be an NVR-based solution. Now, by far and away, the most numerous solution out there is an NVR-based network video recorder-based solution. The others do involve some networking in order for them to work properly, and by and large, the NVR typically is going to be the less expensive upfront cost, but it just depends on how everything is packaged. It might not be the least expensive because the other 2 technologies, the server-based technology and the cloud-based technology, are going to require typically annual subscriptions and stuff like that just to go ahead and keep the cameras on. And it was really important in working with PowerCom to make sure that there was not going to be any surprise future expenses or anything like that in order to keep the camera on. And so the entire system or systems that you are considering are built around the NVR-based system, so that the price is the price, and you don't need to go to the well next year as well. Anyway, thank you for your consideration, and look forward to hearing the results.
That concludes the citizens signed up to speak.
Thank you. I will move on to the approval of meeting minutes. Is there any discussion regarding October 1st, 2025 regular board meeting minutes or October 15th, 2025 special board meeting minutes? Since it doesn't seem like there is, I'll call for a motion to approve the minutes for October 1st's regular board meeting and October 15th special board meeting.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Okay, motion passes and is adopted. Let's move on to individual items. Item number 4, consideration and approval regarding Resolution 6826, award of a contract for access control and security cameras. George Ayala, Director of Procurement. Joanne Alvarado, Senior Director of Innovative Technology.
Good afternoon. Madam Chair, members of the board, this resolution seeks to upgrade the security infrastructure across our public housing portfolio. Opportunity Homes needs a vendor to provide comprehensive intrusion protection, security cameras, access control, and panic button systems at various communities. This award will deliver modern security features, including motion-activated security lights, upgrade entry door locking systems for specific areas, motion detection and glass break devices, exterior systems and strobe lights, and a panic silent alarm system for staff available as a workstation alarm or on a lanyard. Critically, the new network-based camera solutions will use network video recorders. This is a significant improvement because it allows for secure viewing and storage of 30 or more days of video footage on an internal network, eliminating the need for continuous cloud access subscriptions cost, which is projected to save the public housing budget up to $400,000 a year. The installation is estimated to take 100 days. With regards to the procurement process, on June 25th, 2025, we issue a request for proposals, RFP 2506-5592, which closed on July 10th, 2025, at which point 9 proposals were received. Proposals were evaluated on criteria including experience, project management plan, quality control, price proposal, and the strength of Section 3 and SWIMBY utilization plans. Based on this evaluation, staff is recommending the award of this contract to Powercom Systems as they are the highest rated qualified proposer. The total financial impact for this is $765,000 with $55.71 for year 1 for installation and initial monitoring, plus annual monitoring and maintenance costs for years 2 through 5, not to exceed $40,996.80 per year. With me is also Ms. Alvarado, which can talk to you a little bit about the need for this project.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I want to just give you a little bit of a background of what we're doing here. This is I think you need to go back one more, please. There you go. So if you recall, we did 18 mid to high-rise properties where we installed camera systems and intrusion protection and alarm systems. After we installed and completed that installation, we went back and started talking with the community managers, and they still face quite a bit of challenges with homeless, going into the stairwells, with the residents holding open doors in the stairwells, with illegal dumping that really overrun our trash dumpsters and cause a lot of expense to clear that up. And then we, of course, the laundry rooms are always a gathering place where a lot of homeless and other residents would gather, a lot of incidents would occur. So we decided to use our CFP funds and go back and install 399 cameras at the original 18 to go into the laundry rooms, the dumpster areas, and the stairwells. The next phase that we're going into now is going to be for our family properties, and where we're going to be putting in some intrusion alarms and panic buttons and access controls. You can see there, not everybody is getting the access controls and the panic buttons. Some are just getting cameras and so on. We're going to add another total of 112 cameras to those properties listed there. And that's pretty much the breadth of the phase 2 that we're talking about today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we get into any questions or move this item to a vote, could we just take a minute to talk about and put on the record the process that we utilized to ensure that the outcome that we have before us today was fair, consistent, and transparent?
Yes, ma'am. So I would like, before I begin detailing the process, I would just like to reassure the board that every single evaluation was within the board policy and procurement policies. It was within those guidelines that we have. But as far as the procurement department, we have identified and implemented key improvements to address concerns that were raised during this RFP process, specifically regarding vendor qualifications and transparency. Future solicitation now specifically require vendors to submit proof of licensing requirements. We also strengthened the disqualification criteria to make sure that it's clear that license lapse at any time of submission results in a non-negotiable failure to meet minimum qualifications. Furthermore, we are also clarifying our blackout policy. Just to mention, to reaffirm the duty to independently verify any public factual information. So whenever anybody reaches out to us and brings out any information that we can verify, it is our duty to go ahead and verify that information through state agencies, as we did in this case.
Does anyone have any additional questions?
I do have a question. How is it that we were not aware that the licenses had lapsed?
So typically, during our solicitation process, we do ask that our vendors are bonded and licensed. We don't, from the procurement side, we don't know every single license that is required to meet these standards. When it was brought up to our attention, we did verify that this license was a requirement by the state of Texas. And as one of the vendors mentioned, you cannot perform these type of services unless you're licensed. So we verified that information using the TOPS website. I do not know the meaning of that acronym off the top of my head, and we did find that there was a lapse in the licensing requirement that spanned from, I believe it was for a longer period of time, and it wasn't in fact during the time of submission.
Just as a comment and not as a question, it does seem that we should be able to verify that any contractor, and I realize we have hundreds of contractors, but that contractors have the appropriate licenses to perform work that they're doing and not rely on a third party to inform us.
I agree. And like I said, from our the procurement standpoint, we're not subject matter experts, so we did not know that this license was required until it was brought up. Once we did do that, we did our due diligence and looked at that license ourselves. But like I stated before, our solicitation clearly states that we are looking for a bonded, licensed contractor that can do these services. And there is specific language in our solicitation that also requires that they're licensed by city, state, and federal as well.
Thank you.
I want to, add on to Commissioner Powell's question. So what are we doing so we're not here again in this position ever again?
So one of the things is probably work better with our subject matter experts, in this case, security and IT departments, in order for us to identify any possible licenses requirements. Like I said, from the procurement standpoint, we do not know every single license, whether it comes to IT, security, construction. We do not know this license requirement. This is where we rely on their expertise for them to assist us in identifying those things beforehand.
And so let's say, you had that expertise and it was caught initially, would the respondent been removed from the?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we want to clarify in our solicitation, to make it clear that you have to be licensed at that time. And that way, it's clear that they are disqualified. It's written in legal language by an attorney, so sometimes it's not clear enough, but we're going to make sure that it's clear that any licenses lapse, whether it be temporary or permanent, that it's a matter of disqualification.
So you say you have access to this TOPS program?
Yes, sir.
Where you can check if somebody's licensed?
Yes, sir.
So why wasn't this checked before it was awarded to them at the beginning?
So, as you recall, it was never awarded to them. It was a recommendation. Recommendations are not what's called a guarantee of the actual contract getting awarded. At that, we actually pulled the item before it was presented to the board.
Okay. I also, something that's bothering me, they were at the top, and if they were properly licensed, they would have probably been awarded the contract.
Yes, sir.
So how did they go from being on top to going to number 3? If nothing changed except for the license, and then they took care of the license issue, which was the only thing that took them off from the RFP before, how did they drop from being on top to number 3?
Good question, sir. So one of the things that I identified, it's actually the number of respondents. So let's say, for example, when you have one of the things that hurt them the most, it was the pricing. So the pricing now you're looking at, since we had to redo it, we redid the solicitation, there was other people that were priced lower. So when the lowest price usually gets the highest awarded amount of points. So in this case, that was one of the clear things that deviated the vendors from one another. As far as the other criterias, I don't have all the documents in front of me, but I believe they scored similar, like the same scoring. So where they got like 17 where they got like, let's say, for example, 16 points, they average about the same thing within the new evaluators.
I have another question. So, was the evaluation, like whoever was on the evaluation committee, did that stay consistent? Were it the same people, or did that change?
I believe so. Joanna?
They pretty much do stay, whoops, sorry. They pretty much do stay consistent, but oftentimes we try to mix them up if we can, and we have staff to do so. But for this particular one, we really look at the experience, the technology background, to ensure that we have the right people in the room to do the evaluation.
But were they the same, like?
Yes, I believe they were.
So, okay, they
Yeah,
stayed.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't change them because,
Okay.
yeah,
So these were the same respondents from the original RFP
correct.
when the licensing issue happened?
Oh,
No. So we, there was when we had this turnaround, Pyrocom was one of the ones that didn't submit in the first round. And several other respondents. I don't know off the top of my head which ones exactly, but I know for a fact that Pyrocom did not submit to the original solicitation. And this is typical because usually there is a 21-day period where people can actually view the solicitation. So if there's a respondent that didn't have enough time to bid at a certain project, or they were bidding on something else, then they might have not seen it or might not be responding to that one. But it's not necessarily mean that they weren't interested. It was just at the time they didn't respond.
And so part of them getting the, being at the top is because their price was lower, was the biggest part of it?
So basically everything, so for example, Pyrocom was awarded 17 points on experience, respondents, project management, and plan. They were awarded 27 out of 30. Respondents, implementation and quality control, 15 out of 20. And a price proposal was 13 out of 20. Where the third highest rated vendor was awarded 16.8 on experience, 21 out of 30 points for respondents, project management and plan. Respondents, implementation and quality control was awarded 12 out of 20, but price proposal was 8.95 in comparison to 13.32.
You mentioned a few process improvements with regard to the procurement process. How are those going to be ensured that they will be followed? Is there going to be a review process after? How does management get involved to ensure that everything has been, all of our I's has been dotted and all of our T's have been crossed with regard to who we decide or who you decide to recommend for procurement?
Yes, ma'am. So as far as our procurement process, we have a certain list of minimum qualifications that the procurement department reviews. Once those are screened, it is then handed off to the evaluators if they meet the minimum requirements. After that, all the evaluators are given the proposals with the exception of the price. That way, their decision won't affect the ranking of the proposals. Once that is collected, we do have that coming back to me, and then I review the process and make sure that it was done fairly. Then once we have that, we compile a recommendation for award. That recommendation is routed, and it's routed to several members of our leadership team as well.
Thank you.
Now, as far as the price point on these two companies, Lakeway and Pyrocom, I know there's a difference on equipment that's going to be used. Are they equal as far as being able to do the job? I know that Lakeway has done work in the building that I live in, and they switched out our cameras, and I know that the property relies on those cameras a lot, and they're working well. And but I want to make sure that, there's a saying that you get what you pay for.
Yes, sir.
And I want to make sure that what we're paying for is going to do the job. Like we heard from the gentleman from Blanco that, you know, cameras don't work or they can't see what they need to see. So I just want to make sure that the equipment that's going to be used is going to do the job.
Yes, sir. So as far as, this is why Joanna mentioned that we have as part of our evaluation group, we do have subject matter experts that we do have within the organization. These folks are trusted to do their research. In addition to that, we did do our own research at the procurement department, and we found that these were comparable. One of the things that we also do, in addition to this research that we did, we also conduct reference checks. So like the gentleman said, they have worked with another housing authority in El Paso. They have previously also done work for us with the previous two properties. And Joanna can probably talk a little bit more about that work that they've done. If you're okay with that, Joanna.
Were you talking about Pyrocom or?
Yeah, Pyrocom with the.
Yes, so recently, I deal with a lot of vendors. We have 3 specific vendors that we've worked with on the overall camera projects that we've had. Pyrocom recently won another award for 2 of our properties, and they have installed the cameras, they installed the NVR systems, and so far, I think it's only been maybe 2 months that they've completed, but so far, they've been working great. They look great. We're able to retrieve video. We're able to see faces and what we need to both at night and day. So far, we're very happy with what they installed. And that was very recent. With Cheryl West and Mission Road, that was another project that we had to do in a very timely fashion due to the deadlines of the funds of a safety and security grant. And they came through for us. They gave us their project plan. We had our kickoff. They were constantly in communication with us. So I'm very pleased with their performance so far.
Thank you.
Chair, could we hear from our head of security just to make sure that we closed all the loops on this so that I trust the job that procurement does, but y'all aren't security experts. So I'd rather hear from the individual who's responsible for security.
Thank you, Commissioner. What we're looking for more than anything else is when we do have an image, to be able to provide this to SAPD. And Joanna's right, what we're able to get right now does provide us that. And I do believe that moving forward, some of these cameras are comparable to what we're looking for. If the image quality is ever compromised, then I'd be the first one to actually come forward and say, we have a major problem. We have not had that. SAPD has been very successful in being able to conduct their investigations, but I appreciate the opportunity to answer that question.
Can you say a little bit about the vandalism issues as well with regard to placement and size of the cameras?
Yes, ma'am. We had a problem before of being able to put cameras in locations where we needed them the most. Unfortunately, trespassing is a major problem, especially at our high-rise buildings, the elderly and the disabled. These individuals that come in, especially during the winter months, have a tendency to want to come out of the cold, the inclement weather. But when we have blind spots, it's very difficult for us to actually send boots on the ground, so to speak, to go and check all of the stairwells and do it on a consistent basis, which is why I worked with Joanna and with the procurement department to be able to get us a solicitation that would specifically address some of those gaps.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Is there any further discussion? Okay, if there is no further discussion, I request a motion to approve Resolution 6832. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Motion passes and is adopted. Item 6, consideration and approval regarding Resolution 6842, authorizing the expenditure of additional funds for Development Initiative Consulting Services. George Ayala, Director of Procurement, Lorraine Robles, Chief Real Estate and Development Officer. Oh, I'm sorry, no. I skipped 5, sorry. My bad. Consideration and approval regarding Resolution 6832, award of the contract for Ravello Apartments interior and exterior improvements. George Ayala, Director of Procurement, Hector Martinez, Senior Director of Construction Services and Sustainability. Thank you. Sorry about that, guys.
No problem. Good afternoon, Commissioners. This is a request to enter into an agreement with a general contractor for multiple improvements at the Ravello Apartments. The scope of work requires a qualified general contractor to provide improvements to the interiors and exteriors of a portion of the units at Ravello. These are city bond funds that is going to fund this project, and so with the limited funds we received, we put a lot of thought and effort into how we were going to best serve the community at Ravello. So this project includes exterior improvements focused on improving the security, such as the fencing. This project addresses some improvements to and repairs to the concrete pavement there at Ravello. Additionally, some elevator modernization work is involved in this scope of work, so they'll be hiring an elevator contractor. And there's a lot of work that's going to be going on in the interiors of the apartments, such as flooring replacement, installation of safety grab bars in the shower stalls, fixture improvements, hardware improvements. There's going to be some touch-ups and spot repairs to the sheetrock walls, and the installation of brand new appliances. So if there's any questions about the scope or technical, I'd be happy to answer. Otherwise, I'll turn it over to George to discuss the procurement.
Okay. With regards to the solicitation process, we issued an RFP on July 30th, 2025, and directly solicited to 2,084 vendors, of which 80 of them received our documents and were able to review our documents. After which, we received 6 proposals in response, and 1 response was deemed non-responsive. Evaluation criteria included experience, project management plan, financial capability and viability, cost proposal, strength of contractor Section 3 and SWIMBY plans. And after the initial evaluation, we requested a best and final offer from the 2 highest rated proposers, which met our budget constraints in the first round. After that, a second best and final offer was requested, and staff determined that the proposal from Gage Commercial Construction was the highest rated and came within the budget amount of this project. The financial impact of this project, the total award recommendation is not expected to exceed $5,237,108.59, which includes a base bid, additional alternatives, and a contingency amount of $242,234 that will only be used if required. Funding for this project will come from MTW funds and city housing bond funds, with other available reserves to be used if needed. At this point, we're asking for your approval for this resolution.
Do we have any questions?
I do have one question. Just to be clear on the process, the matrix that's in our packet, which lists the responsive proposals, does not reflect that best and final price, right? It just is the initial response to the RFP.
Yes, ma'am. I believe so. So originally the base bid there was 2 vendors that were considered, the highest 2 rated vendors, and we do have the original base bid. For example, I'm going to go ahead and mention the Gage Construction. The original base bid was $5,247,937.76. After baffle number 1, that was $5,155,031.10. Once we disclosed our budget amount, that came in at $4,844,672.28. Adding the alternatives that were already chosen by our construction services department, the total amount came in at $4,994,800. $874.59 for the base bid to include the 4 additional alternatives, which is within our budgeted amount, which is half city bond funded and the other one's MTW funds.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Okay, then I'd like to move to a motion to approve Resolution 6832. Do I have a first?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
We have a first and second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Thank you. Item number 6, consideration and approval regarding Resolution 6842, authorizing the expenditure of additional funds for Development Initiative Consulting Services, or JAYALA, Director of Procurement, Lorraine Robles, Chief Real Estate and Development Officer.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This particular item is in regard to Snowden Living, our first self-development project. We procured Baker Tilly originally in August of 2021 to provide services for pre-development or development work as well as construction work. The plan was for us to close on financing by second quarter of 2022. However, that did not occur. We were not able to close on financing until October of 2022. So that delayed or pushed out the contract timing. Another big portion of extending the time on this contract was due to construction delays. There were for various reasons, and they were recorded by Baker Tilly. They stepped up and assisted the Housing Authority when additional assistance was needed, when there was a change in staffing, and helped with not only supporting the construction work, but as well as the development work and helping keep the project moving. There was an instance of time where construction was severely delayed and there was a mediation was involved. And they were critical in helping us negotiate during that time period. And so the amount that we're coming to you for, or can we go to the next slide? There we go. The request for the change order is for $334,232, which is above the originally approved amount of not to exceed $500,000. And so, of course, when receiving this change order, staff went through and worked with the existing staff at the time to make sure that they could substantiate this amount. And we asked them for proof, emails, supporting documentation and whatnot, and they were able to provide that to us. We are very grateful that they were able to provide that assistance at the time, and they are continuing to assist on the project. We completed construction in May of this year, and we're looking to convert from our construction loan to our permanent loan by first quarter of next year. So with that change and the dollar amount that we're requesting, we needed to come back to the board to receive approval to do so.
I just have one quick question. The notation through Philadelphia Housing Authority, does that relate back, or am I completely off base, to the pools that housing authorities across the country can use to procure services?
Yes, it's exactly that.
And in other words, we're not giving any money to the Philadelphia Housing Authority?
We just piggybacked off their contract.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, any additional questions? Okay, well, I call for a request to approve Resolution 6842.
So
Do I
moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Have a first and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. We will move on to item number 7, consideration and approval regarding Resolution 6841, authorizing the Artisan at Creekside Apartments project refinancing. Lorraine Robles, you're still up.
Thank you. So Artisan at Creekside was developed in 2009 by Franklin Development in partnership with the Housing Authority. 252 units, all 100% affordable at 60% of AMI and below. As of now, we've reached the end of the initial 15-year compliance period, and it provides the opportunity for the Housing Authority to purchase the property. And so today we're asking or requesting permission to acquire. We would convert the partnership into a single asset LLC. The acquisition price is 15.6 million, I believe. Yes, 15.6 million, and it's valued at 19 million. So we're requesting approval to acquire utilizing a 13.6 million loan from Frost and 2 million in MTW funds in order to acquire the property. The property is doing great. They had a phenomenal year in 2024. Their debt coverage ratio was at 2.07 last year, and their NOI was 1.57 million. And we're looking to do better this year. So it's been performing well. The asset management group, the construction group, and affordable housing communities have assessed the property, both financially and physically, and they believe that it's a good move for us to acquire the property. And so today we're asking for your permission to do so.
Any questions?
So there are no major issues with this property or anything?
No, none.
Okay.
In fact, the asset management group has been heavily managing the property for the last 2.5 years in anticipation of the acquisition. And so they were making sure that all improvements or maintenance was maintained and kept up with, so that by the time it was time for us to acquire, we wouldn't have an issue.
Good.
I'm just excited to see that work the way it's supposed to work.
Exactly.
So thank you, and to the asset management folks.
Thank you.
Commissioners, if I can just add that this is an area that is in much need of affordable housing. It's just a mile south of the Alazan Apache Courts. So we know the need for deeply affordable units in that area is great, and so this adds to that stock.
With no further discussion, I'd like to move for approval on Resolution 6841. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
We have a first and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 8, consideration and approval regarding Resolution 6838 and 25 LV PFC-11-01, Rio Landing Apartments inducement. Lorraine Robles.
Chair, we're going to table 8 and 9.
Oh, I'm sorry, we tabled that one. Where am I?
The next one would be 10.
11.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Realigning.
Sorry. Again, consideration and approval regarding Resolution 6836, appointing the Opportunity Home Board of Commissioners as the Board of Directors for the Education Investment Foundation, Incorporated. Muriel Roeder, Executive Vice President and Chief Administrative Officer. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. So today, we are starting our establishment of our 501c3. It's been out there, but we are getting it back up and running and going. And as part of that process, one of the things we wanted to do was to take that first step and to allow our current board, you all, to be the board of our 501c3. So right now, the current language says that there will be basically 2 sets of board members. One will serve as 5 Class 1 directors, and then 4 Class 2 directors that would be appointed by the Board of Commissioners. And so we feel that it would be most appropriate for our 501c3 to be our current Board of Directors. And so this resolution would allow that. And I can answer any questions.
Yeah, quick question. I assume this is structured so that when we leave these roles, we would no longer serve. So similar to the other boards that we serve on because we hold these seats.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions? No?
No, this is very exciting, though. I'm really glad to see that the 501c3 is being reinvigorated. It's a very useful tool, and I think it will help us make sure that we have a wider variety of resources for our residents, which we saw the need for, obviously, during COVID and the aftermath as we were trying to assemble sources of assistance that weren't where we were not prohibited, for example, from making a small payment or finding some source of forgiveness. So it's great to have this tool available.
Yeah, I just want to echo the same sentiments. Being on the funder side, when orgs don't have a 501c set up, it can be very prohibitive, whether you're fundraising for something or doing other work. So kudos to y'all.
Okay, so I will call for a motion on Resolution 6836. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second?
It's moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Thank you. I'm going to go back to item number 10. Consideration and approval regarding Resolution 6838 and 25LV PFC-11-01, Rio Landing Apartments inducement.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back. So today I'm bringing you a project called Rio Landing. And I just wanted to remind you, at our last regular board meeting, we approved 7 bond inducements, projects that were seeking bond inducement. And so we're doing the same thing here. Those projects did apply. And so this developer also wants to submit a bond inducement of up to $40 million from through our entity, Las Vadas Public Facility Corporation, and still rolling on that with the hopes of getting a bond reservation. And so right now, that's all we're asking an approval for. And of course, in the future, we'll come before you for any type of negotiations. It's the same one of our previous developers on a project called Rio Crossing. And they've worked with other housing authorities in the past, and this would be the second time we would work with them. Rio Landing is on the further west side of San Antonio. It's off of US Highway 90 and Military Drive. In the direct vicinity it's adjacent to Lackland Air Force Base, as you can see, as well as some shopping and retail spaces. And it's within 5-mile radius of Rainbow Hills Park, John Glenn Elementary, John Jay High School, and Nelson Wolf Stadium. It's currently in City Council District 4, part of San Antonio ISD. The proposed development is 288 units. The proposed AMI right now is 100% of those units would be at 60% AMI or below. And the unit mix is 1 bedrooms, or there's 92 units, 2 bedrooms are 124 units, and 3 bedrooms are 72 units. This is hopefully going to be a 4% tax credit and bond deal, which is a major part of its capital stack, this type of financing for the project. The breakdown is on the land cost is about $4.2 million. Hard costs, including all construction costs, is $52.9 million, close to 53. Soft costs are around 18.2. A total cost per unit around $262,000. The projected development cost right now is around $75.4 million. And as you know, some of these deals, as they move along, may yield some revenue for the housing authority, and it is applied back to our targeted affordability goals, as you see outlined in this presentation. Do you have any questions?
I do have a question. So this is more just, I realize we're only doing the inducement at this point, and but 100% at 60%, and I know you include the information about cross-subsidy for targeted affordability because we get that on all these transactions, right, if there is eventually any income. But, I mean, we're not expecting this, say we were to be involved, we wouldn't be expecting 100% at 60% deal to pencil for income flowing through to us, or are we? That seems like a pretty optimistic assumption, given that 100% of these units are restricted to 60% and below.
Yeah, that is something, and I may need to bring Lorraine in. But
yeah, I'm just curious about whether that's even with the 4% and the bond financing, whether that's feasible.
So believe it or not, we will still get a portion of the developer fee, right? So there still will be, but yes, this is one of our mission-driven projects.
Wow.
We'll still get a developer fee on this, but our goal is to create the 60% and below
Yep.
units.
That's great. That's an excellent example of our looking out for future returns that can help us with other areas of our mission, but also putting a truly affordable product on the ground. Because I know for years, the discussion was around, is an 80% AMI product that was the workforce, the typical PFC product, is that really an affordable product? And I don't think anyone could argue that 60% and below AMI units do meet a real need in the community.
Agreed.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any additional discussion? Okay, I am going to go ahead and call for a motion to approve resolutions 6838 and 25LVPFC-11-01. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
I have a first and second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Motion passes.
Good job, Nick.
Okay, discussion items. We will begin with an update and discussion regarding the annual MTW report. Ayana Longoria, Chief Strategy, Data, and Innovation Officer. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. So today I am just coming to give you an update on our Moving to Work report. This is the second half that you'll see us twice a year. We come to the board with the plan every year, and that happens in around the May timeframe to go into effect July. This report covers the year prior and is a recap to HUD of how the year prior work went. As a reminder, our Moving to Work designation allows us regulatory waivers as well as funding fungibility. And again, it is a very special designation that we have, and we're happy to make sure that we stay in compliance with it. Again, to kind of mention the funding fungibility is that most housing authorities receive their subsidies in individual portions, right? As they receive their monies, they can only use it towards those funding streams that HUD has allowed. As an MTW organization, we're able to take all of our funds collectively and apply them where they're most needed or where they're most beneficial in what we're trying to do as an organization. So again, this is one of those really important pieces of having this status. Next slide. So as long as we meet one of three statutory objectives, if we could meet all three, that would be great, but HUD only requires one. Through the activities and waivers that we're requesting, we either need to show cost effectiveness or efficiency, we need to increase housing choice, or we have to help our families reach economic self-sufficiency. So as long as we're targeting one of those three goals, HUD generally approves our activities and allows us to pilot or try these activities out. So as part of this report, as I mentioned, we submit this to HUD. It's due by September 30th, and it does, again, cover the year prior's work. So through from July, when our current plan is going into motion through September, we start meeting with all of the activity stakeholders and making sure that they're submitting the data and as required by HUD, and we're pulling all of that together to submit. As we start October through June, so as of right now, we're in the swing of making sure that HUD is reviewing this. Of course, right now, we're in a little bit of an unprecedented moment since HUD is not really looking at stuff right now. So this is a little bit on hold, but generally, if they have questions, they'll come back. They'll ask us to provide additional information if anything's not clear. And just again, as a way of understanding where we are in the flow of the season, we're actually now working on next year's plan. Next slide. So just some key highlighted information is that one of the important things that we want to make sure we highlight is that we are serving 103% of substantially the same. And so when we entered into our HUD contract, HUD said you have to make sure that you're serving the same amount of people regardless of, again, your funding structure, the work that you're doing, however you're doing it, you have to at least provide the same amount of service to your residents. So as of this year, we're actually above 100%, so we're serving more than we were when we started our baseline year. So we're at 103%. We can project as high as 107%, but again, just given what happens in the market and the unit turnover, this came down a little bit. But again, we're still excited that we're able to exceed HUD's expectation in this. 83% of those families were very low income. And again, just to mention, our waiting list as of June 30th did have 63,405 unique applicants. So we know the need is still continuing to be great. And 103 households did transition to what we're considering measurable level of economic self-sufficiency. And so these are families who have positively exited our programs. So as I mentioned, we want to make sure we touch on the plan a little bit, and so our MTW activities overview is that we have 14 activities currently in this new fiscal year. 12 are ongoing, so they would be carryovers from this, what you're going to see in this plan. One is a newly approved, one we still have yet to implement, and then 2 activities that are being closed and that will be discussed in this report. And then they're all listed out on the side in very tiny print, but you probably heard them when I brought the report forward, or the plan forward. Next slide. So getting into the actual activities, this is why we're here. So the first one is this preservation and expansion of affordable housing. And so this is what we call our local non-traditional. And the local non-traditional is what helped us meet that 103% of significantly serving the same number of residents. And so what this flexibility does is it allows us to use our funds to provide for other housing, such as this location that we're in right now. We did use MTW funds, and so this has become a local non-traditional community for us that provides affordable housing using HUD dollars, but without a program allocated to it. Other units that you'll see we've used local non-traditional is Snowden, 100 Labor, San Juan Square, and Alhambra, and those are the most recent for this plan year. Next slide. So our next activity is to allocate tenant-based vouchers for households referred to by nonprofit sponsors who provide supportive services. And so we did have 465 households that were assisted by services, and the tenure for these plans is about 4.5 years. This would be our Set Aside for Homeless voucher program, our Move On program, and our Close to Home referrals. The next activity is the HQS inspection of Opportunity Home owned nonprofit by Opportunity Home inspectors. So this is where we allow our own inspectors to provide inspections to our nonprofit communities owned by Opportunity Home. So our Beacon Community Partnerships, AHCs now. So we did have 2,825 inspections completed in last year, and that resulted in a cost savings of approximately $68,788. Next slide. All right, so our faster implementation of the payment standard decreases. Again, this is a cost efficiency activity, and when fair market rents decrease, the payment standard adjustments are implemented at the next re-exam. Of course, if they increase, we adjust those immediately, but again, in the decrease, it would happen at the next re-exam. So this waiver was utilized in this fiscal year, and it resulted in $134,000 in cost savings for the organization. Our HCB rent reform, and so this is a simplified calculation activity, again, for cost efficiency. So calculations are done using a basic math formula as opposed to calculating individual itemized items, and so that would include simplified utility allowance, and it still allows for hardship exemptions if there's other things that need to be considered, but being able to save time is the cost efficiency here, and so the projected savings over 2,844 processed files was $70,000. Next slide. Our elderly admissions preference at selected public housing sites. So this is one of the activities that closed this year. And the reason we closed it is because what we saw was that only 68% of households across these 4 properties actually met that ratio. And so we were really looking for 80%, but for the number of years that this activity had been on the books, it never met that ratio. And the continuation of continuing to try to meet that ratio led to turnaround time, the longer turnaround times in vacant units. And so again, given that the leasing is a real priority for us, we decided to end this activity. However, these, public housing can still achieve targeted ratios by leasing with an elderly preference. Again, it doesn't need a ratio, it doesn't need an activity, it's just something that they can do. The next one is the modified project-based vouchers. And again, this is a really great activity that we have that, again, is separate from other things that we do. And so what it does is it takes a project-based voucher and it allows us to commit it to specific properties and work with partners. And so one of the things I want to note is, for example, at Woodhill, those vouchers that you see there are allocated to our Through project as well as our homeless project, homeless preference. And then 424 San Pedro and the Commons at Acequia Trails are both public no, just kidding, PSH, permanent supportive housing vouchers. So again, really neat opportunity to be able to work with our partners and see developments come to fruition through these vouchers. The local implementation of small area FMRs, and again, this was to create more opportunities at different payment standards so that families could have a range of where they could move. So we have had 54% of households who have moved into a unit which is called groups 4 through 10, but we generally see these as areas of higher opportunity. So we are seeing positive movement for our families. In the alternative recertification process, this is a cost efficiency, effectiveness activity, and so this allows our families to be on a triennial schedule. Again, they still have the opportunity to come and report if they have a change of household composition or a decrease in their income. However, if everything else stays the same, they're on a triennial schedule. And so again, the savings for this activity is just due to the streamlining and efficiency of staff time, and it has realized an approximate savings of $594,000. Our next activity is the College and University Homeless Assistance Program, and so these are tenant-based vouchers that are allocated to Alamo Community Colleges currently, and this number is a little lower than we had anticipated. We had high as many as 50 students, and the original project was for 50 vouchers, and because they were at their target, we allocated another 100. However, after seeing this number, we are going to be working with them to expand to other universities. So that is something that's going to be happening in this fiscal year for the next year's plan.
Excuse me.
Yes.
With the vouchers for college and the homeless college students, do you work with the universities and with Alamo colleges?
Yes.
That this is available for their students that are living in their cars in the parking lots?
Correct, yes. So with these, we have a dedicated student liaison with Alamo Community Colleges, and it's St. Philip's and Palo Alto, thank you. So those two colleges have come forward with the most need. However, again, we're looking at extending out to all of the Alamo Community Colleges as well as partnering with UTSA and Texas A&M.
Because I know when I was at SAC, there were quite a few students that actually lived in their car in the parking garages and went to school there, so.
Yes.
So hopefully you can add San Antonio College to that group also.
To that group, exactly. Thank you, yes.
And Commissioner Casillas, if I can just add, I met with Dr. Lawson at St. Philip's College. She said the vouchers have been very helpful to address the housing needs in her college, so she was very grateful.
Thank you.
The next activity we have is the Next Step Housing Project, also known as the Through Project. This is for our youth that are aging out of foster care. And again, we've had a positive, we have 10 slots allocated and 7 were being served as of June. So we are on track, I think, with the number that are allocated to what is needed. And so we have no plans right now of needing to change anything, but we will be doing a formal evaluation on this activity in this next plan year. The next one is the limiting increase in rents, and so this is a closed activity, and in this particular activity, we actually rolled it up under MTW Activity 2019-2, so it became part of that alternative recertification, again, just to streamline the language, and we did need this extra activity, so we went ahead and closed it out. The next one is the Opportunity Home Partnerships, providing basic needs for residents through income exclusions. And what we are serving to do with this activity is make sure that any contributions that are coming into our households from a partner are not included in their income calculation. And so this would include any monetary or non-monetary contributions or gifts from, again, any of our partners. And so what was collected and provided this year is the work through our resident services group. And so they hosted over 1,000, or they stated 1,078 events, which realized about $1.8 million in contributions estimated from our partners. Next slide. So the property-based local non-traditional rental subsidy program, this is also referred to internally as PH-like, has not been implemented. This was something that was created to support the Snowden activity. However, it was not necessary. It didn't develop in time to be used for that project. However, we still have it on hold or on the books in case we do need it for a future development. So we're going to be reviewing and seeing whether or not that will be something for the next coming plan year. And then the elimination of the earned income disregard. So this activity is approved, and it is still on the books, again, because we are waiting for HOTMA regulations to go into place, and then we'll determine whether or not this particular activity will be needed going forward. So right now, our next steps is, again, I mentioned this report was submitted to HUD. We're patiently awaiting review and approval. But in the meantime, we have already gotten started with the next year's planning. So we're looking forward to 2027 planning and looking at, again, the priorities that we want new activities, we want new initiatives, and we're really going to be mindful about what's coming through and what's needed to support the strategic plan. We're working with our residents, internal staff, and of course, our external stakeholders are a very big piece of this work, and we want to make sure that our plan is responsive, as well to HOTMA and those changes that come through from HUD. And then the last piece is, again, making sure internally that we're coordinating with all of the departments that do have an activity involved so that we're making sure whether or not it's something we want to modify, continue, or close out. So with that.
Any questions?
Yes, I just have a couple clarifications to make sure I understand some of the strategies we're using. So with regard to assistance that's organized through a project, community-based fair, so none of the assistance that's received at that time, food baskets, or would be considered as income that would be counted against any of our families?
Correct, as well as rental assistance, utility assistance.
Right. So anything received at that time, provided through our partners, is we have to. That's a specific strategy that we have to request from HUD not to count that.
Correct. So we're capturing it, but we're not exactly picking it up as part of their income calculation.
And then the other question is just to ensure that, to see that if I understand the waiver on the project, the tenant versus the project-based voucher, that if we have a tenant that is utilizing an existing voucher and they want to move into a project that has project-based vouchers, that we can utilize their tenant voucher as opposed to having to utilize the relatively rarer and more difficult to come by project-based vouchers. Is that accurate, or am I off?
If the project-based voucher is already allocated, they can move to the project-based voucher. But if not, then we wouldn't. They would have to stay with their tenant-based voucher.
Okay, thank you.
No additional questions? Thank you.
Thank you. I'd just like to say I'm really glad to see the amount of attention being paid to MTW. I think it's a really significant advantage that we have in making sure that we continue, whether or not HUD has taken a look at this in the past 38 days, but that we met our deadlines and that we are now waiting for them to get back to us.
And we will now move on to the next item on the agenda, an update and discussion regarding property insurance renewals. Jennifer Dominguez, Senior Risk Manager. Welcome.
Hi. So originally, this item was brought to the board in June and approved. Staff committed to providing an update on insurance placement, specifically the renewal pricing and negotiation for Opportunity Home San Antonio and its affiliates for our insurance portfolio for the current fiscal year. So just for board awareness, the majority of our insurance policies do renew July 1. We consolidated them to align with our fiscal year, which helps streamline with budget planning, so that portfolio-wide we're renewing on one date. There are a few exceptions, though. Our flood policies, due to the inability to secure a single renewal date with a flood insurance carrier, those do renew throughout the year. Vacant building insurance, similar to flood, we can't find an insurance carrier who will align with the July 1. So we do have vacant building insurance for the convent, which reviews in March of next year. And then additionally, if we make any changes throughout the year, right, we're reevaluating coverages, claims, and then looking at the state of the market, our property values, rebuild pricing, so that we make sure that we are insuring our buildings appropriately with the rising cost of construction. And just to be clear on how we process our insurance, in March, we review and complete renewal applications. In April, we gather all of that information, review it with our broker of record, review market trends. In June, we come to the board with an estimate and see competitive premiums out on the market. Typically, applications have to be done 30 days before, so that is why we come with an estimate in July. Policies are renewed. In August, we audit the portfolio and everything that was placed to make sure that everything is appropriate. And then we are here in November to provide you an update. So In your board packets, you also have a copy of this worksheet here. We did place insurance with an approximate increase of about 14%. That increase was really due to the state of the market for insurance. And also that is, you have to think of the natural disasters and the catastrophes that happen all over the world. That is part of premium increases, even if it's not happening locally. And then building value increases. There's stricter underwriting right now with the market being hard. And then our insurance carriers also purchase insurance, so the reinsurance is at a higher price, so we absorb some of that cost as well. Some notable changes that did occur for our placement this year is our flood insurance did have a large increase, but that had to do with the flood lines changing, and we had an additional 25 buildings that came into flood, that needed flood insurance. We do have an additional 5 that will renew throughout the year, so we are anticipating the dollar amount here is including those additional 5 coming on, and that was with what we have already paid. Additionally, we dissolved our Beacon Housing Solutions insurance policy, so all of those communities were absorbed into our other insurance policies, for example, like the Development Corp or the Facility Corp and so forth. So you'll see that there are some increases there. And then what we found kind of odd, but I think it has to do with the dissolving of Beacon Housing Solutions, is that our excess insurance was at a flat renewal, and that seems odd. So we're looking at doing some increases due to the communities moving into the other entities that we insure, that we would look at expanding the amount of coverage we have. Because previously we may have had, I'm just going to give an example, 10 properties under one insurance policy, but now it has 13. So we need to reevaluate if that excess policy we have is valid or not. Valid as far as the adequate amount of coverage. Let's see. I think that covers everything. If you have any questions or concerns, I'm available to answer those for you.
Just to make sure, so you had indicated that the premium overall increase was about 14%, but it looks like from our budgeted numbers that you included on the slide that you had actually possibly overestimated a little bit in terms of what we were going to have, the increases. So just to make sure, it looks like that our total request was about 7.2 million that was budgeted for FY 25-26 that we're in now, and that the placed premiums actually came in at about 6.8 million. Is that accurate?
That is correct. Overall, we saw about close to that 14% increase. We anticipated it being higher, specifically liability insurance. That increased about 25%. But again, we found it odd that the excess came in at flat, so we need to make sure if we need to increase any of those coverages. And then additionally, with the property, it came in much lower than what we expected. So we are exploring, looking at increasing building values on those policies to be able to use some of that contingency so that we have adequate coverage.
Excellent. So it looks like you were conservative in your budget estimates for this year and that we're not facing any type of issue at this point, and the increase in coverage that you're seeking would be due to the escalation in value of the property, not to any inability to secure the appropriate coverage.
That is correct.
Great, thank you.
Any further discussion? Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay, and now we'll move on to our next agenda item, update and discussion regarding the proposed 2026 board meeting calendar. Muriel is back up.
I am back up. So commissioners, this is the time of year we look at our board calendar for the following year. What we were able to do is keep our monthly board meetings on the first Wednesdays of the months. As tradition, we don't have a meeting in January and we don't have a meeting in July scheduled, okay? So I wanted to also talk about what we look at when we make these considerations. And we look at, any holidays or events Also City of San Antonio holidays, industry conferences and events, those that have already been scheduled. Some have not been scheduled, so they could come up and interfere. But we try to look at those before they start. And then also interfaith holidays that have work restrictions. So we look at a lot of different religions, and to ensure that those that do have some work restrictions, we're keeping away from those days. So unless there's any questions, comments, this will be the plan for the upcoming year.
I'm good to move forward. Anyone have any questions or comments?
No.
We are good. Thank you,
All right,
ma'am.
great, thank you.
And finally, Michael, President and CEO report.
Thank you, Chairwoman. We had a very busy October, very productive October. I'd like to first start by thanking you and the Vice Chair and Commissioner Casillas for joining us last month as we celebrated the completion of our new single-family homes in the Palm Lake subdivision through the Westside Reinvestment Initiative. We were grateful to have Mayor Jones there, Senator Menendez, and representatives from the offices of Councilwoman Terry Castillo and Texas Representative Ray Lopez join us. As I had shared that day, we weren't just celebrating new homes, we were celebrating opportunities. And it was really, I think, important to mention, Mayor Jones mentioned that how her family benefited from having a voucher and getting a home, and that experience of her family walking to a new home, it meant a lot, and it really sets a foundation for, especially for a child's life moving forward. So we're really grateful for your participation, and we look forward to building additional homes. We're getting ready to construct additional homes at Palm Lake and starting the progress to build additional homes in the Sunflower subdivision as well. Moving on, I'd like to recognize our Construction Services Department for their outstanding work at Victoria Plaza. Victoria Plaza has earned a Level 3 Energy Retrofit certification from Build San Antonio Green, the highest level in their program. This certification reflects a 60% improvement in energy performance through the City of San Antonio bond-funded project completed earlier this year. The work included a new roof and solar system, which highlights our shared commitment to sustainability and responsible use of public resources. I'm also glad to report that CPS Energy awarded us a $28,000 solar incentive rebate for the work completed at Victoria Plaza. So I just wanted to extend a congratulations to our construction services team and sustainability team, and to the residents who will benefit from this long-term energy savings. At Wheatley Park, at Senior Living, we introduced a project-based voucher waitlist, which opened on November 10th. Wheatley Park offers 1- and 2-bedroom apartments for adults aged 62 and older who meet HUD income requirements, and that, as you recall, is in our Choice neighborhood there on the east side. I'm equally proud to share that after long conversations, a lot of work, we launched our first ever Resident Advisory Board, or RAB, which is a huge accomplishment. We talk so much about how residents deserve a voice, and they do have a voice when we have town halls and when they come to citizens to be heard, but there's something to be said when they're at the table helping us create policy, and especially as we're putting together our strategic plan. So we have 15 residents as part of the board. We're really excited about it, and it brought together the organization leadership to learn about how the board functions, the mission, the history of the organization, and the long-term goals as we head to our 100th anniversary in 2037. So through this effort, we're ensuring residents have their perspectives remain an active part of our decision-making. And so we're really grateful for that entity now that came to fruition. I'd like to take a moment to recognize one of our young residents for an outstanding achievement. 13-year-old Taraji Ibile, a participant in our Housing Choice Voucher Program, was selected as one of 12 national winners with the National Association of Housing and Redevelopment Officials in the contest called What Home Means to Me, in the poster contest. Representing the Southwest region, her artwork depicts a wooden house supported by 4 pillars: guidance, love, support, and nurturing, values she believes form the foundation of a home. Her artwork and essay will be featured in NARO's 2026 National Calendar, a well-deserved achievement that highlights her creativity and perspective with people from across the country. I'm also proud to say that our 2026 Fiesta Medal will be inspired by Taraji's work, so we're really grateful for that. I also like to recognize residents who recently completed the Connect Home SA digital program. Over 2 weeks, participants learned how to use technology to stay connected, from sending emails and preparing resumes to exploring new opportunities online. At the end of the program, each graduate received a refurbished laptop in recognition of their hard work and commitment to learning. So I wanted to thank our Connect Home team and CDI for making this happen, and to all the staff who participated in this event. Last month, I started off saying it was a busy month, and it was, especially with the San Antonio Neighbors Together events. We hosted more than 80 events across the city at our various properties, and they were meant to bring staff, law enforcement, families together to kind of help build trust and a sense of community. So we're really proud to our public housing and our affordable housing community staff for putting those events together. I know Commissioner Casillas, I saw him out there, not quite on the dance floor, but kind of enjoying the festivities, and so we're really grateful for our team for putting that together. They were great events. Our Community Development Initiatives Department continues to play an important role in empowering our residents. At Via Veramendi, residents took part in an education and career workshop on October 22nd that connected families to schools, training programs, and community resources. Partners including the South Texas Leadership Center, Commencement Career Center, and the Triumph Public High School offered guidance to help residents pursue education and professional goals that support long-term stability. We also join our partners at the San Antonio for Growth on the East Side, or as we know, SAGE, for their annual Halloweast event, which our team distributed more than 200 books to children and families. It was a great opportunity to promote literacy and celebrate the East Side Pride with our community partners. And finally, our Housing Power Hour Plus series continued on October 22nd that focused on how key housing entities in San Antonio work together to expand and preserve affordable housing. The discussion brought together partners and community leaders and housing professionals to examine our collective role, the collective role of community housing and development organizations, the San Antonio Housing Trust, and Opportunity Home in addressing local housing needs. The next and final session of 2025 will take place on November 21st, and this will explore strategies on preserving and repositioning public housing to ensure long-term affordability and resident stability. As a reminder, these sessions are open to the public, but limited in capacity, so early registration is highly encouraged. And Chairwoman, that's the President's report.
Thank you so much. It is very encouraging and makes me proud that we have such wonderful staff who's engaged in our community, providing programming and initiatives that allow us to be able to share this information and show what it is that Opportunity Home is truly doing and helping our communities prosper. So thank you, everybody.
Madam Chair, if I may.
You may.
Of the 12 properties I probably visited on San Antonio Neighbors Together, I want to congratulate the staff of each property for a job well done. They and the residents of the properties were having a great time, dancing, having fun, music, DJs, and great food for everybody, and everybody seemed to be having a great time. So thank you to the staff for, I know it's a lot of work putting it together, but I know that everybody had a good time. And also the Bonanza, I guess it was, at the central office. Great time this year. I know I visited with a lot of the kids while that was going on and everything, and they had a great time. So congratulations to the winners of the different areas that won, and hope you enjoy whatever your prize was.
Okay. We are going to go ahead and recess for our nonprofit corporation meetings. We will now recess from the regular board meeting and enter into the Las Varas Public Facility Corporation and San Antonio Housing Facility Corporation meetings. The time is 2:38 p.m. Okay, having already done roll call, I will ask if we have any citizens to be heard.
There are no citizens signed up to speak.
Okay, thank you so much. Since there are no citizens signed up to speak, I'm going to go ahead and ask if there's any discussion regarding meeting minutes for the October 15th, 2025 Las Varas Public Facility Corporation meeting. No, with no discussion regarding the minutes, I'm going to call for a motion to approve the October 15th, 2025 Las Varas Public Facility Corporation meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
We have a first and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes.
We will now move on to consent items. Is there any discussion on consent items 4 and 5? With no discussion, I call for a motion to approve consent items 4 and 5. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
We have a first and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. If there are no objections, I'd like to adjourn the Las Vadas Public Facility Corporation meeting. Hearing no objection, meeting stands adjourned at 2:39 p.m. Okay, and now we will open up the San Antonio Housing Facility Corporation meeting. We have already called roll. Are there any citizens to be heard?
There are no citizens signed up to speak.
Okay, having no citizens signed up to speak, I'm going to move on to approval of the October 1st, 2025 San Antonio Housing Facility Corporation meeting minutes. Any discussion? If there is no discussion, I'll ask for a motion to approve October 1st, 2025 San Antonio Housing Facility Corporation meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
First and second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. And consent items. We'll now move on to those. Is there any discussion on consent item number 4? No? Okay. I request a motion to approve consent item number 4. Do I have a first?
Madam, you can take all 3 of the consent items together.
Actually, 4 and 5 were removed because
Oh.
they are from the regular board meeting that we removed.
Apologies.
We tabled them.
Yeah.
I thought we did 5, but not 6. Sorry, I'm confused.
No.
We're going to do 5 or 6.
We removed 5, we tabled 5.
5 and 6, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to note that with regard to the housing facility and the Public Facility Corporation meetings, that these items were presented during our regular meeting, and that action's already been taken on them through the Board of Commissioners.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve consent item number 4?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
We got a first and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. I move to adjourn the San Antonio Housing Corporation meeting. All those in favor, well, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned, people. 2:42 p.m. Okay, so we will return to our regular board meeting. The board has returned to the regular board meeting, and I'm calling it to order at 2:42 p.m., and we will be entering into closed session.
Madam Chair, the board will enter into closed session to consult with its attorney under Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code regarding the Code of Conduct for the Board of Commissioners. The time is 2:42.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amara staff, Liz, the community manager, for having us. Thank you, IT, as well, for everything.
We're moving. All right.
The time is 3:49 p.m. and the board has returned to the regular board meeting. All members remain in session. You may call the meeting to order.
Go ahead, and, ma'am, if call it to order, and then I'll.
Okay, we will go ahead and come back into the regular board meeting at 3:49 p.m.
Thank you, ma'am. The board considered an item in closed session for which action is required, so I would ask the board to make a motion to amend its code of conduct as discussed in closed session.
If there is no further discussion, I'd like to request a motion to approve the amended Board of Commissioners Code of Conduct. May I get a?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
I have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes.
No
Before
other
we
action
wrap
is
up?
required. Sorry?
I was going to say, before we wrap up, but did you have another item for today's consideration? No.
Do I?
Yeah.
No.
You were just
You
about
don't
to
have
say
anything
something.
else?
I didn't want to cut you off.
No, 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 no. I was just going to say there's no other action required of the board.
Excellent. Well, I just wanted to thank everyone who worked hard to make this a really lovely site for our meeting. We go out and visit communities. I know Amara is like one of the most recent communities in our whole portfolio, and it is just beautiful. I brought my workout clothes, so I'm gonna have, I mean, it's gorgeous. So thank you to the community manager, Liz Zepeda, and Dina Villarreal, and to all the folks who are on staff here for welcoming us, and to our staff. I know it's a lot of extra work to do this, but it is sincerely extremely helpful for us to come out in the community and see see where our folks are living and learn a little bit more about the properties. So thank you.
And one last thing, I know yesterday was Veterans Day, but being that we are all here today, I just wanted to go ahead and acknowledge all of the veterans that either work for Opportunity Home or who are our residents. Thank you so much for your service, and we appreciate all that you have done. Thank you. Oh, we have to,
Can we do that? Can we make we're just talking about making a request to change the date of the meeting because we might not have a quorum next month. So who tells us what to do next on that?
You can ask that the meeting be, it doesn't.
yeah, so for the December board meeting, could we adjust that to December 10th? Uh-oh.
At 1:30.
At 1:30 PM, please. Okay?
Is that your birthday?
Okay.
Oh.
Oh.
The risk is that we won't have a quorum, so we wouldn't be able to do any, take any action at the meeting.
I will be in the middle of the ocean.
Okay. Okay, so if there are no objections, I'll adjourn the meeting. Hearing no objection, the meeting stands adjourned, and the time is 3:52 PM. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Like, we like half of the time.
Thank you.